Hey everybody, good afternoon. How's it going? Sunday afternoon, and we had a Seahawks game today. Kind of. We had the starters playing the backups in a scrimmage game. Not broadcast anywhere. Couldn't watch it online, couldn't watch it on TV. I think eventually they showed a little bit of it on NFL Network, but for the most part, you couldn't really watch it unless you went. And a few people did go, including some people with Twitter accounts, and they decided to live tweet the game the best that they could. So thank you to those people. Rishi Rashtogi is one of them. So a lot of the information that I have on what transpired today at Lumen Field comes from him. There was also some from a Mac on Twitter, and there were a couple others as well. But a lot of the info I have on what happened on the field today comes from them. So thank you to both of them. So since this is kind of a big deal, it's not a preseason game, but it's certainly bigger than your average training camp day. Let's just jump right in and start talking about what can be talked about and see if we can find interesting things to say about what happened or maybe didn't happen on the field today. So let's go through these tweet streams. Let's talk about what happened and let's talk about what it might mean. So first of all, the offensive line is not in a very good state right now. Not necessarily anything that will matter when we get to the regular season, but obviously Dwayne Brown still not doing anything. Forsyth played through an injury, and props to him for that. But Jamarco was out, Ogbuehi was out, and I think Tommy Champion was out. That's pretty much all of our tackles right there. I just listed them. It's very thin at tackle right now. So we missed seeing anything from a lot of those guys. I know Rashad Penny and Robert Kimdichie did not play today. I believe DJ Reed didn't play today. Now, I think all those guys are going to be fine. You'll see them in time for the first or second preseason game. But something to monitor. Ethan Posick did not play today either. There may have been one or two others, but those were the ones that I noted. So we were missing some guys, and that may explain some of the stuff that we saw out there today. So with that in mind, let's go through what was noted by the people who were there. Okay, so right from the start of the game, we got a little bit of an interesting tidbit here. Trey Brown returned at the starting kickoff. Now, God help us if a fourth-round pick can only contribute as a kick returner his rookie year. But if Trey Brown can provide value, plus EV value at the kickoff return position, returning kickoffs, that's something. I can work with that because it already seems very clear to me that Trey Brown's probably not going to start at corner. And honestly, if Ahkello Witherspoon is as good as he's looked so far, I don't think he should. I think Trey Brown should be coming off the bench to start. So if he can find a way to get some value as a kick returner, that would be kind of nice. And it takes some of the stress off DJ Reed because you don't want DJ Reed put in this position all the time if he's going to be a starting cornerback, which I expect him to be. So interesting note there. Now for the offense, there was some stuff to like here, and this was good to hear because the Seahawks offense in training camp so far has been not great, and I don't think it was great today. I think you could definitely say the offense was at some point somewhat sloppy, but there was some good stuff out there today. I feel better about the offense right now than I did yesterday when I was talking about how they were struggling a little bit in training camp. So early play here, DK goes in motion, easy 15-yard reception off play action to Lockett to start the game. Remember these two words, by the way, play action. We're going to be coming back to that as we go along here. Here's another play action. Wow, that was quick. 45-yard reception to DK Metcalf off of the play action. So there was definitely some good stuff early from the offense, and Rishi backs this up by saying the offense looks so much quicker out of the huddle and that they were going quick with a couple of tempo setters. So we're already seeing, I know it's just a scrimmage, and I know the crowd, there's no crowd, there is a little bit of a crowd, but it's not a hostile crowd, it's not a road environment. It's going to be very different when the real games are on, but He did see the offense coming out of the huddle quicker and snapping the ball quicker. This is stuff that we really needed to get this year, and it looks like we are on our way to getting it. So this was great. This was great to hear. Let's see here. Now, as for some of the stuff with the backups on offense, one big thing, one recurring theme from the backup offense, the second string offense, was Geno Smith loved throwing the ball to Colby Parkinson. This is going to be something that comes up a few times, but it makes a lot of sense, right? If you are a backup quarterback, you spend a lot of your time working with the backup receivers. So it makes sense that a guy like Geno Smith and Colby, both guys who were here last year as backups, would be very familiar with each other and really understand how to utilize each other. I don't know if this means that Colby Parkinson's going to be an important piece of the offense in 2021, but it certainly helps. All right, so as for the defense, some notes on the defense now. Benson Mayowa and Darrell Taylor were initially being tested on the outside edges of the bear front. I said it before, and I'll reiterate it. I know Benson Mayowa is not a great player. Maybe he's not even a good player, but he does have some value. And given the fact that he's on the team and we can't cut him without losing more money because of the way his contract is structured, I was really interested to see how we were going to utilize his talent, because it seemed to me that there wasn't a lot of room for him to get snaps. So, not surprisingly, we were testing him on the outside edges of the bear front. The bear front is actually a great way to get more pass rushers on the field because you basically have 5 down linemen. So you may see a lot of this when the season starts. So Mayowa and Taylor were initially the guys we were trying to put out there on the edge. And Aldon Smith eventually got involved on that front as well. And as this game goes on, it seemed like the Seahawks felt like Mayowa was a little bit of an odd man out here. It seems like, and it's too early to be sure, seems like Darrell Taylor and Aldon Smith are the guys that we're counting on to be guys who can play the outside edges on the bear front, which makes sense. Those are our most talented guys. Aldon Smith's in a weird situation because he's no longer the all-pro guy that he was with the Niners almost a decade ago, but he's still clearly more talented than a guy like Benson Mayowa, a career journeyman, sort of. Ahkello Witherspoon was another guy whose name came up a lot in the mock game today. This was an early one. He had a pass breakup on a 30-yard attempt. Seemed like defensive PI that didn't get called, but Witherspoon ended up making a lot of plays on the ball in this game. Supposedly, he had 3 breakups in the red zone in this game alone. So far, I think Witherspoon has been living up to expectations, probably even then some. So I liked the signing when we made it. I know it was polarizing. I know some people were concerned about it. It was definitely one of the things that we did this offseason that a lot of people were very trepidatious about. But so far, so good. And I like his fit. I like where this is going with Ahkello Witherspoon so far. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Back to the offense now. Play action. There's that phrase again. Right to a dump-off screen left to Alex Collins for an easy-looking 20-yard gain. Now, I think this was Geno Smith who threw this screen, but Shane Waldron is calling the plays for both offenses in the scrimmage game. You got to understand. So, whatever the offense did today, be it the backup offense or the starter offense, it still means something in terms of showing us what Shane Waldron might be looking to do. And it's not surprising that we might see more of an emphasis on things like screens with Shane Waldron in the fold, but this is going to be interesting because Wilson's never been a very good screen player. In fact, I think we've even had kind of the joke in recent preseasons, like Geno Smith, somehow he's better at throwing screens than Russell Wilson is. It's the one thing he can do better than Wilson. So, going to be interested to see if Wilson can maybe become a better screen thrower this year with Waldron, because clearly that's going to be part of the offense. Chris Carson was running very hard today. I don't think this really surprises anybody. We've seen Chris Carson play for 3 years worth of games at this point, and we know how he runs, and he was maybe running a little too seriously for a mock game, but That's how he plays football. He'll live or die by that, kind of like Adrian Peterson did. He probably ran a little harder than he needed to and ate some injuries he didn't need to because of that. But AD is still in the NFL after a decade and a half, so I guess it worked out well for him. So, yeah, we know how Chris Carson plays. We know what he can do, but there it is. One note, and this is more in the kind of slightly disappointing side, although you're not going to be that disappointed by anything you see in a scrimmage game. Not a lot of tight end usage outside of Geno hitting Colby Parkinson a couple of times. So Wilson was not using his tight ends that often. Everett and Disley, I guess it would be. So don't know quite what to think about that. That's not exactly what I wanted to come out of this mock game thinking about. So if there is anything to get disappointed about, this would be one thing. Obviously, it's a small sample size and doesn't necessarily mean anything, but not a lot of tight end usage from Wilson in the first quarter. A lot of stacked receivers to the right of Wilson and motion. 70% of the play calls have been play action. That stuff is very good. Motion is great. I have said for years that one thing that this Seahawks defense does not handle well is motion. When the opposing offense goes into motion, we don't handle it very well. So I've always wondered, if we know we're bad against it, why doesn't our offense use it? If we feel like motion is good, we should be using it on our offense. And it seems like we might be headed in a direction where we use it more. And play action. I've always said, play action, it always makes plays better no matter what. If I were an offensive coordinator, I would be running play action like 80 to 90% of my passing plays, because it just makes everything easier for your offense to make plays off of play action. And you don't even have to really establish the run to do that, although it does help. There are very few circumstances where play action actually makes the play worse. It does happen, but it's very rare. So I love the fact that we're committing ourselves to this play action motion offense. It feels like we're entering the modern era a little bit. The only thing that sucks is that it took us this long to figure it out. So this stuff, very exciting to me. I'd like to see more tight end usage, but there's plenty of time to see that. The philosophy of this offense seems like they're headed in the right direction. Okay, so here's another highlight of Geno going to Colby Parkinson, and an indicator that Aldon Smith and Darrell Taylor are seizing control of the edge setter position for the Bear fronts in Seattle. So, again, Geno and Colby having a good report makes a lot of sense because they're both backups. I don't know if that means Colby's going to be awesome this year, but it's a good sign. And yeah, Aldon Smith and Darrell Taylor, they are our most talented edges outside of Dunlap, so they probably should be the guys. If not, the coaching staff is possibly doing something wrong. Here's another Smith to Parkinson play, a 30-yarder, which is actually it's one play, but Colby Parkinson does not strike me as a big play threat most of the time. He's kind of big and slow. So kind of like to hear this kind of stuff too. He's making plays down the field. Back to the defense now, and I know this is kind of all over the place because these are just an assortment of live tweets about the game. Trey Brown with a mean pass breakup. Wilson targeted Ursua on a deep slant in the red zone, and Brown timed the hit perfectly to force the ball out. Aggressive yet controlled play from the rookie. Some people have been asking on videos and streams, why haven't we heard anything about Trey Brown yet? This is bad. This is one of the guys we needed to do something good for us this year, and we're not hearing anything about him in camp. He's not picking this up fast enough. He's not going to do anything for us this year. This is one of the first really positive things we've heard about Trey Brown as a cornerback, and I like it, He will probably have to get on the field for us at some point at cornerback this year, and he's going to have to do good. Going to have to give us something there. So hearing stuff like this is great. I think that Trey Brown will probably play some outside corner for us this year. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to need to get taken out for a play. I mean, Ahkello Witherspoon got benched for poor play multiple times in his Niner career. Even if he's really good for us, you may see that happen again. You might. So if Trey Brown can be the guy, first man up in the event of something unfortunate like that happening, and he builds on stuff like this, that's obviously very good. And The final highlight from Rishi was Cam Sutton blocked a punt, which I don't know if Cam Sutton really has much of a chance of making the roster, but hey, this is the kind of stuff that will help. Making plays on special teams, good for him. We'll see if it ends up meaning much of anything at all. And few more things I want to go over, few more plays that caught my attention, but that was kind of the bulk of the scrimmage game today. I think the starters won 22-3. Jason Myers made all 4 of his field goals, and that's basically the story of the day. All right, so to wrap up with a couple of other plays of note that were sprinkled throughout the day, Cade Johnson caught a tunnel screen for 11 yards, I think from Geno Smith. So Cade Johnson is a guy who I fully expect to make the team at least practice squad, if not the 53-man. So I'm happy to hear about any play he makes, even one as innocuous as an 11-yard catch. I feel like us getting something good out of a UDFA is crucial because we had so few draft picks this year. It's going to be very hard for this draft class to be good without 1 or 2 UDFAs showing out, and Cade Johnson seems to have the best opportunity at it. In the negative category here, we do have another drop by DK Metcalf. He had the 45-yard catch earlier in the game, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. We have to live with a couple of drops with DK because he doesn't have the best hands in the world. He is going to drop some passes. Those drops are going to matter a little more this year, though, I think, because I don't think we're going to have as many deep shots. I don't think we're going to have as many, long developing plays. We're going to be running shorter and intermediate stuff, and in order for an offense built on short and intermediate offense to work, you can't have drops because they kill drives. In the Schottenheimer offense, at least when it was working to a certain degree, you could have a drop and then you were constantly taking shots deep down the field. So the drop didn't necessarily have to kill the drive because you might pick up a 40-yard gain on the next play. You would routinely expect these big plays to wipe out these drops. In the Waldron offense, I don't think you can expect it quite as much, at least. So the drops are going to matter a little bit more. Poona Ford had a touchdown today, kind of one of the more amusing highlights of the day. It was not exactly that compelling of a touchdown. There was a pitch play to a running back, and the pitch was bad, and the ball rolled around for a bit, and Poona picked it up and rumbled home. So good for him. Cool to see. Kind of amusing to see. We like Poona around here. Fun player, but just a big miscue by the offense leads to the Poona Ford touchdown. Dixon had one of the big highlights of the day with a 55-yard punt late to the 2-yard line, so he's clearly in regular season form. Overall, Mac Jordan notes above all that there was a lot of 11 and 12 personnel from Seattle today. A lot of motion and a lot of PA, a lot of bootlegs, a lot of empty. These are the kinds of things that I really like to hear. These are the kinds of things that excite me as a Seahawks fan who wanted change after last year. I already kind of went over the motion and PA, but it seems like we're now doing things the right way. It's just going to take a while for us to do the right things the right way and then execute them properly. So be prepared for that. And final note here before we leave. This has been kind of a long video, but scrimmage game, we had a lot to go over. To kind of really hammer home the fact that the Seahawks are really experimenting with things and trying everything out, which is cool, I think. I think I like it. Rasheem Green actually got to play a little bit of the edge role in the Bear defense, the stand-up edge role. So Rasheem Green kind of sort of playing linebacker. I don't expect that to be effective, really, because of Rasheem Green's specific skill set, but it's interesting that we tried him out. And it's a scrimmage game. You can do stuff like that. And you never know what you might find out when you do stuff like that. So I have said before that Rasheem Green feels like he might be the odd man out. Don't be surprised if we trade Rasheem Green for like a 6th-round pick later this month, especially if Aldon Smith gets the go-ahead, because I like Rasheem Green well enough. I'm a little cold on him because he didn't do much of anything last year, but I don't know where the snaps are for him, and it just seems like we might be better off getting a late pick for whatever. I mean, he's still young. Some team might value him. But the fact that we're trying to play him at this position, I think, kind of emphasizes the fact that we might not see a future for him on our defensive line, and we were just experimenting with the dials. But yeah, that's really about it. So interesting day. Starters win 22-3 as you would expect. Offense made some plays. Still looks a little sloppy. Great stuff from Ahkello Witherspoon. Nice plays from Trey Brown. A little bit of versatility from him as well. The offense philosophically looks like it's headed in the right direction. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up for me. I'm out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. See you guys later tonight. Videos coming tomorrow. And see you guys later.